Hello, this is Kian from the Football Obsession. Today we've got a very special guest, which we're going to go into in a minute on the podcast. The podcast may lag a bit. Like I say, I'm still learning, still trying to get it all sorted. The special guest camera did lag and stop a bit, but we got that sorted quite quickly. I hope you enjoy the podcast. This has been Kian from Football Obsession, and I'm out. Hello, this is Kian from Football Obsession, and today we've got a very, very special guest. Just want to say thank you to Jay Motty. I'm sure you'll know him from Stretford Paddock for coming on. How are you, Jay?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Forgive me, and I was just swigging Pepsi Max when you did the introduction. So I'm good. Fine. Glad to be on your channel. Big fan of what you've been doing, mate, and appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. I appreciate it massively. We're just going to talk about a few things today, including how, in our opinion, Ole Gunnar Solskjær has progressed Manchester United, and since he's took over as manager, and obviously he was interim manager, how he's progressed. In my opinion, he's massively progressed. Also, I'd like to ask you a few questions about when you started supporting United, stuff like that. Your favourite day, which I assume will be in 1991-92 season, as it's infamously known. So yeah, I just wanted to say, what is your opinion in terms of like how Ole has progressed in terms of his tacticalness, like tactical now sort of thing. I think he's massively progressed from the start of the 2019 campaign when he came in.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Ole is it was such a weird start for him because it was so good as caretaker manager. Yeah. He had that record-breaking run where we beat everyone, and then when he did start to falter slightly, when you look at the home loss to PSG, we obviously recovered with that amazing win over in Paris, and I think that it set the bar that high that people thought, okay, this is it, he's cracked it now, and we're just going to, sort of sweep all before us. And then we fell off a cliff, didn't we? We had that awful run towards the end of his first season, when nothing went right. We missed out on the Champions League when it looked at one point it looked like we were going to get it, and people were really questioning. And I think since then, he's not had it all his own way, but I've seen a progression. I've seen him sort of trying to change Manchester United's style. I've seen him bring in a lot of signings, and I think if you look at the signings he's brought in, I know you're talking about tactics, but this sort of ties in with that.
Oh yeah, of course.
If you look at the signings he's brought in, I think his success rate with his signings is nearly 100%.
Yeah.
And even the ones that we've questioned, people questioned paying 80 million for Harry Maguire. Would you pay it? Would you, if you could go back in time, would you still buy Harry Maguire?
Yeah, 100%. I've come to love him.
Yeah. Now, yes, we overpaid, but that's not Ole's fault. That's what we had to pay to get Harry Maguire. We needed him, and he's been one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League for the past 3 seasons, certainly since he's been at Manchester United. You look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, again, 50 million quid, people probably going, maybe you've overspent there, but been a very, very good right-back for Manchester United, played a lot of games since he's arrived, and pretty faultless defensively. Yeah. Going forward, you may have a couple of question marks, but a good signing. Bruno Fernandes, one of the best signings anyone has made in the last 10 years, in my opinion. Just a phenomenal signing for what is relatively cheap in today's market for a player of that quality. I know 40-odd million quid is still a lot of money, but you look at it in terms of what other clubs are spending and what that gets you nowadays. Arsenal are going to spend 50 million quid on Ben White. I'm not knocking that, but that gives you a bit of perspective when you can get a player of the calibre of Bruno Fernandes. Even someone like Dan James, where you go, Dan James, what did he cost us? 15 million quid?
Yeah, 15, yeah.
Did we get value there? I think we did.
Of course, yeah.
We don't expect to buy someone from the Championship who's played 20-odd games and they're going to set the Premier League alight. No. But he's been a very, very good squad player. So the signings I've made, I can go into the others. You may question the Donny van de Beek one slightly, but I think that's a longer-term one. Odion Igalo was a stopgap and he was a free. I think his signings have worked. Tactically, he's changed a little bit. He's trying to sort of push the players up the pitch a little bit more. You can see that. And I think that comes slowly. But if you look at his results, you look at the progress we've made, and you look at the signings that he's sanctioned, I think there's been a real sort of progression. Yeah, and it shows in the Premier League finishes. Yeah, we finished, was it 6th in his end of his first season? Obviously, half of that or part of that season with Jose. 3rd in his first full season, and 2nd in his second full season. That's a progression. I don't think it'll happen, but I'd love to see him progress a step further next season and finish first. But we'll have to wait and see.
I'm being very optimistic about next season. I'm really hoping we can push on. Just on the last season, like the one before we got Bruno Fernandes, when it started to falter slightly when he was caretaker manager. I remember being on the bus on the way back from the match when we played Watford. I think we beat them 2-1, but I remember saying to my uncle when I was coming back, I remember saying that felt very weird, that performance. It felt very like something was about to go wrong, like something was about to implode, and it really did. We didn't win for 12 games. But then we went on, obviously, that massive run. I would not change that massive win run. But something had to go wrong eventually for us to progress further, I thought. As we've seen, we were very deprived of goals under, for example, Andres Pereira. And then Bruno Fernandes has come in, and it feels like him and Ole both work perfectly together. I love how Bruno's always moaning to the referee, no matter what game he's playing. I love that. Always down the referee's ear. But yeah, I'm massively supportive of Ole. I love what he's doing. I just hope we can get some more signings. Obviously, we've just got Jadon Sancho done yesterday, as of when we're recording this. So hopefully we can get some more signings and push on and challenge for the Premier League and the Champions League, which is what we want to do. But I've got a few questions for you. I just want to ask you, like, when did you first start supporting United? Was it when you were born, as in like from when you very first, obviously when you very first can remember?
Yeah, I was quite lucky in the sense that I lived near Old Trafford and my dad is a massive Red, so I wasn't given a choice. Not that I'd wanted one, but okay. I was taken to my first game when I was about 5. I barely remember my first few games. I remember there was a game against Southampton. I think it was in 1985 when I was 5 when we drew 0-0. But my first real memory of going to the game where I could fully remember being at Old Trafford and everything about the game was when we played Liverpool in the Rumbelows Cup, I think in 1990. Mark Hughes scored an absolute screamer. Old Trafford, the atmosphere, I've never seen anything like it. It was phenomenal. And I just was always a massive Red. And I've been very, very lucky in the sense that when I started going on my own with my mates in like 92, 93, we just started winning everything. You know, we won the lot, and I've seen just untold riches as a Manchester United fan. I've seen us win every trophy you can think of. I've seen some of the best players in the world playing for Manchester United, not just against us, but for us. And we've had so many wonderful, memorable nights and matches. It's just been fantastic. So it's a little bit easier as well for me to sort of, even though I've had all those riches, and you think, well, you know, like the lyric says, you know, I see some riches, I could live with being poor. It's difficult when you see where we are now, but at least I've got those memories, and it's, you know, it's young fans like you that are the future, obviously, that count. And I think you're doing well because, you know, you haven't had that as much of experience as us older fans have, but you still stick with the team, you're still getting behind the manager, and I think you know, you can see what's happening and what he's trying to do, and I think that's vital for the future of Manchester United. You know, that mob down the road are pulling out all the stops to try and get more fans through the gate, more younger fans, but with people like yourself go to the game and just not even necessarily going, but supporting the club, then we're being good hands in the future.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the first game I can remember was, I think it was against Aston Villa. Henrik Larsson, I think he scored a hat-trick. It's the first game I can remember. I'm pretty sure it was in the FA Cup. I'm not 100% sure about that. But I'm looking forward to obviously going to more games. I've been a season ticket holder since now when we won our 20th title that season. Went to the Red Square when that was there. Went to Sammy Platz when that was there. Obviously, we've not been for a while now. I went to the Fulham game, and it was different, but it was good. I loved going. Love going every time. But hopefully we can go forward. Like I say, we can push on and get to where we was when you was younger and start winning everything again and dominating Europe and the world.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because the sort of goalposts have moved slightly with the amount of money that the likes of Manchester City and even Chelsea are spending now. It's just ridiculous. Obviously, the Glazer factor hurts us. The fact that we're not, yes, we spend money, but we don't spend money like we should do, and we certainly don't spend it in the right way when you look at the state of the stadium, for example. But, you know, there is, for me, a glimmer of hope. I think that we have got a good squad. We've got good youngsters coming through, and we've got a manager that believes in them. And like I said, his signings so far have been quite good. Do you know what? The Larsson hat-trick, Can't even remember that, but it's your first game. I'll take your word for it, mate. Honestly.
Yeah. It was. Might not have been a hat trick. It might have been a brace. I just remember him scoring a great goal.
Right.
Obviously, it's quite a blur. I was only like 5 or 6 at the time.
Better, mate. I can barely even remember he was playing. Do you know what the funny thing is? In my first game, and you might not even know what I'm on about here, but I think hopefully you will. One of the only players I remember playing was Peter Shilton in goal for Southampton.
Yeah, the English goalkeeper. He's bitter about the Maradona
that's like
thing.
one of the.
Yeah.
Still goes on about it to this day, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's so pathetic.
Yeah.
But I remember because I recognised him off the telly. That's one of my. Him and Brian Robson, I think, are the only players I sort of recognised. It's sometimes the memory gets a little bit fuzzy when it comes to the first games. But the main thing,
of course.
Remember being there and going there, and obviously you've got your love for the club.
Yeah. Just on positive memories, what would you say is your favourite day supporting United?
That's a great question. I love that one. There's been loads. There's been so many great days and nights. There's 2 memories that stick in my sort of stick in my thoughts when it comes to that. One was 92-93 season when Steve Bruce scored those 2 goals against Sheffield Wednesday. Because we couldn't get into the game, me and my mates. We used to go down to Old Trafford, whether we had a ticket or not, and just try and blag our way in or doing a bit of ducking and diving to try and get in or whatever. And we got in for the last 10 minutes and saw those 2 great goals from Steve Bruce to sort of more or less win us the league. And that was just phenomenal. Also, I look at 2017 in Stockholm. It was weird, that one, because it was a bit of a subdued atmosphere. Obviously, I'm from Manchester as a reporter. I covered what had happened in the arena attack. Very, like you say, an emotional day. But to win that trophy, to have, I even had City fans wishing me well, wishing us good luck, and to get into the Champions League, and obviously the sort of tribute to the victims was just very emotional for different reasons. But another one of my sort of favourite days in terms of the full day was probably my first FA Cup final as well. I think that was around sort of 94. It was 94. It was the 4-0 against Chelsea when Eric Cantona scored those 2 penalties. And I remember, I think I got a ticket on the day, actually. I went down with my dad and his mates on coach, and it was just... Yeah, very lucky. And you always remember your first FA Cup final. I've been to quite a few since, been to several, but that one was really special, and to see Eric win us the double as well. Yeah, so there's been so many more, I could go on about many others, but those are some of the few that sort of stick in the mind.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I'd say my favourite day was probably when I worked too well on the day, but obviously I went to the game when the last day of the season when we won the 20th title against Swansea. We won 2-1. I was at the Red Square, literally couldn't move at the Red Square. I was like quite frightened of flares at the time because of a personal experience, but I had someone like run past me with a flare. It was unbelievable. It was a great day. I actually remember taking pictures on my Nintendo DS on that day.
Wow.
Yeah. So obviously it was quite a long time ago. It was like 9 years ago, but what a day that was. Another one of my favourite days was when we beat City 4-2. I think Louis van Gaal was in charge at the time, and it for some reason in Sami Platz that day I could not believe the atmosphere. I could not believe how you couldn't move at all. I don't know if you were there that day, and then we went 1-0 down.
Well, do you know what? It's funny because Tom, the lad I sit with, people always say stuff like this, right? But trust me, no one dislikes Manchester City more than this guy. I don't like City, but he takes it to another level. Okay. I mean, it is pure sort of hatred of that club. And he was actually in tears when we beat him. It's like, and this is a guy he's been supporting. He's a bit older than me. He's home and away with United for about 3 decades or something stupid. Like, he's seen us win a lot, but something about that day, because we've been struggling and City had been winning things, and it got to him. And when it was 4-1 up at one point. I think it might have been. He sort of started welling up. It was just that sort of sticks in my memory because it was just fantastic. It was a great day. I remember Marouane Fellaini absolutely dominating United. I saw it. It was just such a good game. It really was. It was a great day and a great game as well. And those are sometimes the ones that stick in your memory. They might not be the ones where you've picked up a trophy or whatever, but because of the emotion, because of where you are and who you're with at the time, it's something that's is always a little bit special.
Yeah, of course. obviously the atmosphere was great that day, and we always generally seem to have a great atmosphere. Obviously recently there's been quite a angry atmosphere when we've been to the grounds because of the protests and stuff like that. But just want to go on to like what was like for me the best atmosphere I've ever seen at United, and it may sound a bit stupid, but when we were losing 2-0 or 3-0 against Liverpool, I think the game ended 3-0, and all we heard was just 20 times. Didn't even hear them celebrate their goal. What would be the best atmosphere you've ever seen at Old Trafford?
That's a great point, Nat, and that is up there. It's weird that you say that because it was 3-0 down, and we were giving it in, weren't we?
Yeah.
20 times just rang out. I was very proud of the Manchester United fans that day. I always think, and I don't know necessarily whether it was the best atmosphere. I think it was just because of my age and the way it was, and it just seemed deafening. And even like 31 years later, I still remember it. It was that time when I went to that game that I mentioned against Liverpool. Okay. Again, funnily enough, we both choose Liverpool games. I've always said the atmosphere at Old Trafford in that game was just something that I can't ever recall feeling like that at a game and hearing an atmosphere like that at a game. And I've been to many games where the atmosphere has been phanomenal, but that just sticks in my memory. And again, it might have been because I was a kid when I was there, and everything's bigger in it when you're smaller, obviously. But I just remember the fact that because Liverpool had been winning everything, they were the reigning league title holders. We'd won the FA Cup, I think, the season before, but they were dominant. They'd won 15 titles in the last 25 years or whatever it was, something stupid. And then we just sort of we produced this performance where we just blew them away, and it was just fantastic. The atmosphere. I remember sort of my dad and other people sort of standing on the back of the chairs and just bouncing up and down. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah, it was just, Old Trafford was absolutely bouncing. Yeah. And even now to this day, it's an atmosphere like, I always use that as a sort of, the high bar atmosphere, like the one like to compare it to. Yeah, of course. To compare atmospheres to. So yeah, that's one that sticks in memory. But we've had some good ones over the years, and hopefully when the crowds are back in, we can get the atmosphere going at Old Trafford again. Because I think the atmosphere, a couple of for the last season, I know the TRA, the Red Army, have been doing their bit as well, and I think the atmosphere is getting better. Or it wasn't obviously until lockdown. But I think the atmosphere at Old Trafford has improved, and I hope it can kick on as well.
Yeah, that day against like when we beat City 2-0, obviously just before lockdown, I sort of knew that. I said to my uncle at the time, he was a bit sceptical whether it would be our last game, and I said this is probably going to be our last game we go to for a while now because. Well, funnily enough, I went to the Allianz Arena in January 2020, and I was sort of discussing that with my uncle whether that was probably afterwards whether that was probably safe to go to. If that makes sense, obviously with the virus and stuff like that. I absolutely loved the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich won 5-0 against Schalke that day, which was a great day. They had two disallowed goals via offside with VAR, but it was a great day. And that 2-0 City felt special.
I had 47 or 37 seconds in the Allianz Arena. That was great when Patrice Evra scored that goal against Bayern Munich in 2013,
was it?
13 or 14 season.
Yeah, great goal.
But unfortunately, while we were all celebrating, limbs all over the gaff and all that sort of stuff, I looked down and I just saw Bayern Munich equalise. So we didn't have much time to celebrate. But for that brief sort of 30 seconds or whatever it was, it was fantastic.
Of course,
But yeah, it's a wonderful stadium. It really is.
Unbelievable.
And it's it's one of the examples I always use, about Old Trafford and moving stadiums, and people say you should never move stadiums, and because Old Trafford does need a massive repair job. And I'm not entirely against us moving stadiums. I think when you look at Bayern Munich and the fact they've moved stadium, your history comes with you. You sort of you can take all that with you. You don't stop being the club you were just because you've moved stadium. And I definitely think we may have to look at that. I don't think it'll happen because we've got owners that are just not going to do that.
Oh, no.
But further down the line, I wouldn't be that against us moving stadium if, of course, we stayed in Manchester. And we took all the monuments and the sort of artifacts, if you will, with us, because I think that you can have a new stadium that still has that aura and that history with it.
Yeah, of course. Like I always look at Bayern Munich as a very classy club, and especially since obviously the Super League happened, and I've really opened my eyes to how much greed is really in the game, and I would really like to I've seen a lot of football clubs recently, like how they interact on social media. For example, you've got Zenit St. Petersburg, just for an example. You've got Spartak Moscow. They've obviously got their own issues as football clubs and stuff like that. And you've just got different clubs interacting. And I keep saying to my uncle that is how I imagine United should be. Interacting with the fans, fully classy club, loves the fans, great stadiums, etc., etc. What about you? Have you seen any football clubs that you would like? Obviously, United are the pioneers for anything, but that you would like currently how for United to be run like?
Do you know what? I think there's certain clubs, and I'll use this club as an example where you can see the owners give a toss, they care. And I think Leicester shows that. Yeah. Now, obviously, there's an emotional attachment now with the Leicester owners because he's the son of the previous owner who died. So there is that. But you can see there's an affinity with the players, the manager. They respect each other. They get on. There's a camaraderie there. Now, I don't mind owners that, aren't necessarily Manchester United fans. No. Okay. But I want them to care about the club.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because once you buy our club, you should care about it. The Glazers don't. They don't give a toss about Manchester United. The fans, the club itself, all they want is them dividends.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. People will go, well, you spent 70-odd million on Jadon Sancho, you spent 80 million on Harry Maguire, you spent 89 million on Paul Pogba. That is simply putting money into the club to get more money out.
Yeah.
They know they have to spend some money to get these returns, to get us Champions League football, to get us sort of, in the top brackets of where we finish in the league or getting the big TV money in. So they have to spend money. That's just the nature of where they're at.
Of course.
But they don't have that love or affinity for the club. And when I look at Leicester, I think that you definitely do see that. Yeah. I think you definitely do see a connection with the players, the fans. Well, the fans is the most important thing. You see there's a real sort of a love there.
Yeah,
and it's translated into success.
Yeah, there's definitely a togetherness.
There's a togetherness.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, watching that FA Cup semi-final win against Chelsea. Final win against Chelsea with Leicester. I watched that game and I loved the celebrations. I obviously if a team wins a trophy that isn't United, I won't stay. I won't like keep the TV on and watch the celebrations. But with Leicester, I really did. A sort of like I was happy for them, you know what I mean? For example, when Chelsea won the Champions League, I weren't happy for them. I was just happy that they beat City, to be honest with you. But I was really, really happy.
Yeah, I'm the same, actually, yeah. I wasn't happy for Chelsea. I was just happy they beat City.
Oh, yeah,
anyone but City or Liverpool.
Well, all season long, I mean?
I was just relieved it wasn't them two in the final because that would have been horrible.
Yeah, of course. All season long, I was saying to my uncle, every time City took the lead, I was saying, they're going to end up winning the Champions League. I just had a bad feeling about it, and I was so glad when they didn't. But from obviously going from classy clubs, obviously to Ole, who is a very classy manager in my opinion, especially for example how the way he's dealt with Luke Shaw and obviously we've seen Luke Shaw sort of fire back within the past few days at Mourinho with Mourinho's comments, which I personally like. I've spoke to some fans who kind of disagree, saying we should just ignore it. But I want to talk about how Ole's progressed the team, and I'm just going to read out the first starting 11 that Ole Gunnar Solskjær started in his first game as caretaker manager. So it's versus Cardiff. I remember because I was in Paris. I was about to go to the PSG game. Didn't actually know whether it would happen because I remember it was riots at the time, but it did happen, and I was very glad. But I watched the United game beforehand, and the starting 11 was De Gea, Diogo Dalot, Eric Bailly, Victor Lindelof, Luke Shaw, Ander Herrera, Paul Pogba, Juan Mata, Jesse Lingard, Marcus Rashford, and Anthony Martial. And then if you look at obviously the players, we've still got most of them players at our club. But I would say from there, I feel like our players have progressed and our managers progressed, and especially like for example, you look at Rashford, he was playing in the striker position, in number 9 position, and he's moved over to that left. I know he's not been fit, but I think he's massively progressed. What about you? Do you think any standout players have progressed there?
I mean, the players that sort of It's weird because one player in terms of productivity.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the front three again? The front three of that team.
The front three
just
was
name that front three for me.
Lingard, Rashford, Martial.
Yeah. The player there in terms of productivity is Rashford.
Yeah.
Now, performance-wise, I think we've seen better performances from Marcus Rashford at times earlier on in his career. But his numbers, the getting the goals and the assists is much better. And he's quite reliable at getting those goals and assists.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Even when he's not playing well. And that's something that, is a positive. I just want to see his performance levels raise a little bit, and I think they can. I think Marcus Rashford isn't anywhere near his ceiling. I think we see it some games where he's proper on it. Liverpool in the Cup was a great example. I thought he was outstanding that game. But yeah, I think that he's progressed. But he's still got another level to go. Martial had a fantastic season 2 seasons ago, went backwards last season. Jesse Lingard fell off a cliff in terms of his form, went to West Ham, reinvigorated, looks fantastic. But I think for me, the one player that sort of, gives me the most hope, and I've seen a more progression, and I think can progress to the very top out of those players you've mentioned, is Marcus Rashford. I really do think that he could be a real star. I think there's others as well, some that you've not mentioned that we've got since then. I think that Mason Greenwood's going to be an absolute superstar. I really do. But I think that especially from that team in that front three, I think Marcus is the one that stands out.
Yeah, of course. Rashford. I'll give an example. For example, I remember last season when we played against Wolves. It was 0-0 up until like the 94th minute, and Rashford came out with a great goal. I remember that game because I remember thinking we're not going to win, and that goal took us to the top of the league. And it didn't last long, but them few days of us being at the top of the league were unbelievable. Loved it. But for me, I'm not sure if you quite agree. I would say Paul Pogba's consistency has come on in the last season since like December time when his agent started to speak again. I'm not sure if you agree with that.
It's a weird one, Paul Pogba, because unlike other players, the reason I sort of mentioned Marcus Rashford is because he'd had such sort of dips up and down with his form, especially under Jose. Paul Pogba was one of the best midfielders in the world when we got him. Yeah. That's why he cost 89 million quid. So when I see Paul Pogba playing well, I'm not necessarily going, wow, I didn't know he had that in his locker.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going, this is what he's capable of. He is capable of putting in a 10 out of 10 performance. In terms of consistency, like Ole Gunnar Solskjær, he had that purple patch when Ole came in as caretaker. I think he benefited massively from having Nemanja Matic and Ander Herrera behind him, just doing all the donkey work and letting him just get forward. Since then, he's had to adapt his game. He's had a bad time of it for injuries. He more or less missed sort of 2/3 of a season, didn't he?
Yeah.
In many ways, the pandemic helped him, but at least gave him more games because we had that sort of gap where he could recover and then come back for the Spurs away game, I think it was, and play his part towards the end of the season. I still would like to see a little bit more consistency from Paul Pogba, but I see where you're coming from. I think he has improved on that front. For me, Paul Pogba is a huge talent.
Yeah.
I want to see him stay at United. I'm not one of those that says just get rid of him. I think Paul Pogba should stay. But we'll have to see what happens with that because you mentioned there his agent. You just never know. You just never know when what is going to go on. And, with a year left in his contract, we're running out of time. We really are. In terms of nailing him down for a long-term deal. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. I said it on the channel the other day. We could be in a scenario where Paul Pogba's sort of transfer moves end up free transfer from Manchester United to Juventus.
Yeah.
£89 million from transfer from
Juventus to United.
Juventus to Manchester United. Free transfer from Manchester United to Juventus. You just don't know.
Surely
which would be amazing, wouldn't it? For all the wrong reasons. You
surely
just don't know.
Surely we wouldn't let him go for free, but for, in my opinion, I reckon Pogba definitely should and could be in a United title winning side. I'd love him to be. Onto obviously title winning. Obviously, we've just signed Jadon Sancho. Well, we've not officially confirmed it, but it looks like we've just signed Jadon Sancho. Are you still there? It looks like it's crashed.
Sorry, bro. Can you see me?
Hello? I can't see you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it looks like it's
Hello?
crashed. Can you hear me, yeah? Hello?
I can hear you. Do you want me to log in again? Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can do something.
Sorry
Don't
about
know
this,
what to
guys.
do.
We're just having some technical issues. It seems...
One sec.
Okay.
I've just
There
come
we
back.
go.
I've just restarted. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are you back with me?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Don't worry. It happens to the best of us. I don't know what happened there. It might have been my end. I've restarted the camera and everything seems to be okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying onto title winning sides. Obviously, I think Paul Pogba should and could definitely be in a United title winning side. Obviously, we've just signed Jadon Sancho. It's not completely official yet, but Borussia Dortmund have now confirmed it. So it looks like that's definitely going to happen, and we've known this for weeks now, for like 2 months. What do you think? Yep. What else do you think we need for it to become a title winning side?
I think we need a CDM.
Yeah,
I've been saying this for months. It's that sort of big hole in the team.
Yeah.
Yes, buying someone like, we've been linked with Varane coming in alongside Harry Maguire would be great. Jadon Sancho is going to be a massive signing for us. But I still feel you need an out-and-out CDM. We've got 2/8s playing as 6s.
Yeah.
In Scott McTominay and Fred. They're not 6s.
No.
They're not that type of player. Maybe Scott McTominay can develop into it because he's still relatively young. Fred's 28. I don't see him adjusting his game. He brings a lot of energy to the team. I get why Ole Gunnar Solskjær likes him. But I still feel we need a CDM. You need someone who knows that is their role. And he's almost built for it.
Yeah, of course.
Isn't a converted 8 or someone who you drag in from somewhere else and place in there. Is someone like a younger version of Nemanja Matic. Just to sit in front of that back four, collect the loose balls, sort of put out the fires before they get going, as Michael Carrick used to do. I'm not saying they'll be at his level, but you can dream. And then just give it to a red shirt to go forward. That, for me, after the right winger of Jadon Sancho, after that signing, our priority should be a CDM.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think I'm not sure if you agree with me. I've watched Declan Rice a bit, and I sort of like Declan Rice. Obviously, my ideal signing would be Wilfred Ndidi from Leicester, but I don't think that's very realistic. I don't think we've really been linked to any other CDMs. Really, I think we were linked with that Mauro Aaron Barry for like a week, and then that's quieting down. But it looks as if United are prioritising a centre back rather than a CDM, which is obviously we do need a centre back. But like you were saying just then, I think we need a CDM more. Like for example, after lockdown, when Project Restart happened, we had Matic in the holding and Pogba, and I think it was Bruno. Yeah, Matic, Pogba, and Bruno, and that worked very well. We went on that amazing 14-game winning run, which was unbelievable. But yeah, hopefully.
You see, it just makes such a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. You can go on.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like a game of Jenga, if I can use that sort of daft analogy. But you take one piece out and it can all
crumble. It
can all sort of crumble. Yeah. Whereas if you have that piece, it sort of makes the team just better. Yeah. And that might not be, he might not be the most glamorous player or the most expensive player or the player that everyone loves and everyone's sort of, got on the back of the shirt. But he's that player that makes everything else work.
Yeah.
He's the one that gives the defence the protection. He's the one that gets hold of the ball, gives it to Paul Pogba, gives it to Bruno Fernandes, brings in the players around him, just does that sort of thankless task in the middle of the pitch of getting hold of it and giving it to a red shirt.
Yeah, of course. You mentioned Michael Carrick a few minutes ago, and I remember, I precisely remember, I think Van Gaal was in charge, or it might have been Mourinho. I think it was 2017, and every time Carrick didn't play, I don't think we won. I think it was like an 82% with Carrick in the team when we won, and then 18% when we didn't win when he weren't in the team, and it was unbelievable. And obviously that's how important, like you were saying, the CDM is. I do think we need maybe a few backups here and there. Obviously, it looks like Lee Grant may be out the door. We're going to get Tom Heaton, but I think we need a few other backups, especially as it looks like. I don't know if you've seen the news, but the news yesterday that the Premier League are under continued pressure now to bring in the 5 substitutions rule back in, like the other leagues are. I'm not sure whether that'll happen, but hopefully Ollie can get better backups and use them correctly.
Yeah, what I like to see with backups is, like I say, a mixture of, youth and experience.
Yeah.
I want to see the likes of Andy Elanga, perhaps. Maybe James Garner, if he's not out on loan. And then, some of your more experienced players, maybe players that, like Donny van de Beek, who've been brought in, who believe they should be starting, have that mixture. You don't just want a team, a bench full of, for want of a better expression, has-beens, and you don't want a bench full of kids who aren't quite ready. You have to have that mix. So, you have the Arlos and you sort of, Nemanja Matic, sort of stuff. It's one of those where you just need to get that balance, and I think we've got it now.
Yeah,
I think we've not got it as much as I want. I think we have it slightly. We've got some squad players, the likes of maybe Eric Bailly, the likes of maybe because he's not always starting. Donny van der Beek's a good example. Dan James is a good example of a good squad player. Yeah. Then you've got your Elangas, your Diallos, your maybe if you look at it, one of Greenwood or Cavani or Martial is going to be a sort of a squad player. Yeah. That's quite strong, but you need players who believe they should start, not just players who think, okay, on the bench is where I belong. I'm not ready yet, or I'm past my best. You need that squad, because if you look at the great Manchester United teams in 2008, we had players like Ji-sung Park, for example. Yeah. If everyone's fit, Ji-sung Park probably doesn't start, but he did start a lot of games. I think he started in the semi-final against Barcelona in the Champions League. He's a very good player and a very important player. And when you bring him in, the team doesn't massively drop off. No. It doesn't suffer a lot. He's a player that comes in and he brings that quality. Yeah. Yeah. When you have players like that, in 99, the manager now was a squad player, basically. Yeah, if everyone was fit, Ole Gunnar Solskjær didn't start. But when he came on, he scored 4 goals once against Nottingham Forest. He scored a winner in the Champions League final. Teddy Sheringham. There was other players then, like Nicky Butt wasn't a regular. Paul Scholes and Roy Keane were your midfield. No. But you bring in Nicky Butt. Are you stood there going, what the hell's Nicky Butt?
No, of course.
He's a quality player. Yeah, so that's what you need. I'm not saying you can go out and get players of that ilk, but you can get players that believe they should be first teamers and are sort of fighting for those first team places. Your squad, your team should be about 16 players. Yeah. You should have 15 or 16 players who class themselves as first team players.
At the moment, we've probably got 14.
And then maybe another nailed it. Yeah. 100%. Donny van de Beek probably knows he's not a first team player. He barely starts a game. The likes of Matic, they're not first team players. Some of the youngsters, like the ones I mentioned, Diallo, Brandon Williams, they're not first team players. Okay. Alex Telles isn't a first team player. Of course not. Well, you should have some of those that believe they are. Eric Bailly might believe he's a first team player if he's fit. I don't think he is, but he might believe that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because he's been in and out of the team. You need those types of players where it's like, hang on a minute, Mason Greenwood and Edison Cavani can both be part of the first team. Yeah. They might not necessarily always play together, but they're both in the first team. So you're right, you need that sort of first team squad in the sense of 15 players who are first teamers. It pains me to say it, but look at Manchester City. There's been a big deal made of the fact that Raheem Sterling, isn't a regular for him. He's not guaranteed a start. Yeah. You watch the Champions League final, the likes of Fernandinho on the bench, Rodri on the bench. I mean, okay, you can have, you can maybe argue that Pep Guardiola got that one wrong. Yeah, there's players like, Aymeric Laporte, who's not necessarily a starter. But these are quality players. And if we're going to catch Manchester City and overtake them, we need to have that kind of squad where you look at your bench and you go, it's strong. You look at your team, you've got players that are fighting.
Yeah, of course,
to get in that team. I think that's what we need.
Yeah, I think we're only a few positions away. And just onto this now, I'm not sure if you've just seen it 4 minutes ago. United have now officially announced Jadon Sancho from their Twitter. They've said, heads up, we have
officially. Sorry, can I just apologise as well? Because I've been getting messages coming through about that. I've been trying to sort of reply, and I hope I didn't seem distracted.
No, it's no worries.
It was popping off, and I'm getting like a million questions about it. Like, should we go live? What are we doing? And I got a heads up to be announced. So I was just trying to type and not be too distracted. So forgive me if you've seen me like typing on my thing.
No, I appreciate you coming on. I'm sorry if I've took up your time here or something like that. But I'm just really, obviously, I'm delighted that United have that have announced Sancho. But it's been like 2 years in the making now. But yeah, thank you for coming on to this podcast. We're gonna end it there, obviously, as it's been amazing. But thank you, and good luck with Stretford Paddock, obviously, going forward.
Not at all. Great chatting to you. We'll have to get you on the channel soon as well. When the season starts, we'll get you on a preview.
Yeah, of course.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
You know, you're doing a great job. And I think that, as I said earlier, with fans like you making the content you're making and you know, getting behind the team the way you're doing it, this club, despite the Glazers, is in safe hands.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate that. Like I was saying, and good luck and have a nice rest of your day. Enjoy the time. Just one more question. I know you're not too keen on England. I've seen us chat for Paddock, but are you enjoying the internationals?
I'm a bit of a different one. I want England to win.
Yeah.
I support England. I'm not as anti-England as some of my colleagues, shall we say, or mates. I'm not as sort of pro-England as I am United, but I want England. I'm loving the fact that the likes of Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire obviously are doing really well for England. And I'd love to see England lift the trophy, lift the Euros, and
same.
Hopefully Marcus Rashford can get the winner in the final, and that'll just be icing on the cake for me.
For me, I'm sort of, sounds daft, but I'm sort of glad that Marcus Rashford hasn't started much, because I know he needs a lot of rest. He's obviously carrying an injury, so as much as I want to see him play and I want to see him play well, I want him to get better as well, first and foremost. But thank you for coming on. I'm gonna end it there, if that's okay with you, unless you've got anything you'd like to ask me.
No, that's wonderful. Okay. Listen, I've really enjoyed it, and I look forward to chatting again in the future. Okay. We'll have you on your so we'll come and chat to you again. Keep up the good work, mate.
Thank you. You know where to message me. My socials are down below. Please leave a like, share, subscribe, and comment any of your opinions. This has been Kian. That's been Jay from Football Obsession, and I'm out.